Hi everybody, I think it's time that I do an account takeover.
Shoot him, Kevin.
Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. So I used to do a lot of account takeovers on stream, but I haven't been streaming lately. So I reached out to some people in my clan's Discord, and I've got a friend of my clan here that asked for a takeover, volunteered, if you will, because I had a little bit of writer's block. The video I wanted to record, I didn't like. So backup plan is to go ahead and do an account takeover here. So because this is going to be an edited down takeover, there's going to be a lot of stuff that gets kind of cut out, and I do apologize for that. But the plan here for me is to try and record the highlights, the important parts for you guys, and leave out all of the fluff, which is me like digging around and looking, because, you know, I'm not going to have this be a 2-3 hour video, and sometimes account takeovers can take that long. I hope this one doesn't. But you know, I want to make sure that I'm doing them justice on their account takeover, but recording good content for you guys. So just keep that in mind when you're watching it. That's kind of how the process of this went. So yeah, let's take a look. Stop right there. Click the link in the description right now to get a free legendary Elenaril and 3 free amazing epics as you level up. Here are the exact steps that you need to follow. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Here we go. You'll find Elenaril here, as well as Uugo at level 10, Tagoar at level 20, and Rector Drath at 30. Don't forget to use the promo code Supreme6 to get yourself the awesome Supreme Galek. This is an amazing account start in Raid. So click on my link right now and follow the steps. Okay guys, so we're first going to take a look at the roster. Now, the user here, I'm not going to say their name just out of respect. I mean, I guess we can say the username, Cyclone. We'll call them Cyclone for the sake of the video. But they're looking for kind of general help, but the main thing that they're looking for is help in clan boss, meaning regular Demon Lord clan boss. And if we look at the roster, pretty interesting roster. You know, we do have He-Man, which is nice, good, very good nuker there. We've also got Wukong. They've got Arbiter. The account is about 4 months old. They did get Freya, which is really cool. Love Freya. I do not have her on either of my accounts. One of the champions I wish I had. And Wallmaster Othorion. That's an awesome pull. So congrats to you, Cyclone, because that is a very, very good pull. But we are here to talk about clan boss, and there's something I noticed right away, immediately, as soon as I pulled up this account, and that was the fact that they have a Demytha. What does that mean? That means an unkillable comp. Now, I'm a fan of killable comps, and one of the projects I have in my mind that I'm gonna find the time to work on is to kind of build a modern day killable comp using relics and all of the advantages that we have these days. However, when you do a takeover and they have a roster like this, you're pretty quickly going to see that they have a predetermined built-in unkillable team. And so what that is Demytha, Deacon Armstrong, Seeker, and Eris right here. She's a farmable rare champion. So I'm going to bring this over. So if you go to deadwoodjedi.com, he has a bunch of different unkillable compositions, and this is one that I recommend for a lot of players, and I'm recommending in this case for Cyclone. So the concept is basically, you can see these are the speeds right here, and if you read all the subtext here, it explains kind of how the team works, but the concept is this, that using Deacon's Aura and his extra turn, using Seeker's turn meter boost and extra turn, Eris as the cleanser with an increased speed, and Demytha as your block damage, you can get a team that will go 50 turns and without anybody dying, right? The only thing you need to do is bring a DPS. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky, or at least in my experience, it was kind of tricky. I ran a team called Mythfu for a while, and you want to be careful about who you put in as your DPS. You don't want anybody that increases their own turn meter, but you also don't want any DPS that you want to be faster than 156 speed in the case of this speed tune. Because for me, I had Mishinaki as my damage for the longest time, and he was so slow I couldn't use him anywhere else, right? He couldn't debuff in Arena, he couldn't hex in Hydra fast enough. Like it was not beneficial for me at the time because he was my best champion for all of those things. So you want to be mindful about who you use in this DPS slot here. Okay, so we'll take that off the screen and let's take a look and see who I would kind of recommend as their DPS. Do we have my favorite choice? It does not look like they have my favorite choice, which is the Fat Man. I really like the Fat Man usually in those instances. You can use Frozen Banshee, but you have to turn off the turn meter fill on her. Just use the poisons is one option that you could use. Oh, Elhain was the starter champion. So one thing that you might run into if you do build this team is you might run into a situation where you don't have enough damage and it'll be a 2-key. But that's okay. You're a 4-month-old account. Once you get the speeds and get this built, and you might have trouble hitting the speeds. We'll look at the account in a little bit as far as gear goes. But once you get there, you should have it, you know, eventually slowly building up the gear and increasing the damage output every couple of months or a couple of weeks or so. You should be able to get there and get the damage. But my recommendations for damage dealers for this, I would actually say Alice, which may surprise a few people, but she did huge clan boss damage for me over on the free-to-play challenge. And you're not currently using her because she's level 50. With a He-Man and Wukong, you probably don't need her. So, you know, you kind of want to find somebody. I like to use an epic usually that is maybe a niche epic that I wouldn't really use anywhere else. Perhaps Juliana might be an option because she does bring burns and poisons, which would be a pretty good choice. So perhaps she would be a good one, except she fills her own turn meter. So no, we wouldn't want to use her. I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards a Kemptum, but I don't think so. So I would probably pick somebody. I mean, Frozen Banshee probably makes the most sense. I don't know that you're going to use her anywhere else. If you were to keep her at 156 speed, you'd probably be fine. And then just hit the accuracy requirement, really. And strangely as strange as it sounds, I would actually consider building them with because they're not going to take any damage. I would build them for crit rate, crit damage, and try to squeeze out as much damage as you can from any champion, whoever the nuker is that you put in there. But just make sure you turn off the A2 if you use her as the damage dealer. So they mentioned that I wasn't looking in the vault, and I did identify a very, very good option for this team, and that's Rowan here. Rowan is really, really cool because she has the Kale A3, except it's 100% when booked. So a 4x hitter that each hit having a 100% chance when booked to place the big version of poison. Probably hits a little bit harder than Kale, and their damage is based on attack and speed. Now they're going to be slow, which is unfortunate. Do they increase their turn meter? No. I don't know how much damage this A2 does, but I would test it and see if you can do the same amount, if you do more or less damage with the A2. The heal reduction doesn't matter, but it should be a pretty good choice of a champion that can hit harder than what Kale would be able to do, while also not being a problem at 156 speed, right? It's not going to hurt your account. They're also void affinity, so you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about the affinity problems that may come up, you know, like if you're using a magic damage dealer and that means that you have to 2-key every time it's force affinity or something like that, right? So Rowan is who I would recommend. I like that choice quite a bit. So that's who I would recommend in this instance. All right, so now we're going to kind of take a general look at their roster and their gear. I want to say I've already took like a quick glance at it right when we were talking about Clan Boss before I started recording, but I really like the builds that we have going on to an extent. So I want to talk about Wukong's build here. If we just take a look at the larger stats, 5,600 attack, 244 speed, 100% crit rate, 189% crit damage. That's really good. I really like your speed. That's my target speed for like even my account, and I struggled to hit it sometimes. Now, granted, it is easier to hit when you're rocking crit rate gloves, but I wonder, you may not have one. Yes, you do. So this pinpoint is actually going to be better than these Slayer set attack amulet. And you can kind of see, if you look here, you actually gain 9 crit damage with it only being level 12. And you're probably running this because the 3, a little bit of extra speed, but you still gain extra speed because it's pairing with your pinpoint. So you're actually gaining speed and gaining crit damage, and that number's only going to go up. The next kind of phase of this is eventually going to be getting crit damage gloves and finding enough crit rate throughout the rest of the gear, but you're not there yet. I will say, though, overall, your builds are really, really good, because a lot of times what I'll see are players that don't have attack percent chests or don't run speed boots. So you have the fundamentals and you're doing a very good job just based off of your Wukong build right out the gate. Your Arbiter is 304 speed. That is very, very nice. We like to see that speed on Arbiter, and I can tell that you're really building her out correctly. What I mean by that is oftentimes I see people tend to prioritize like accuracy on her because they want to be able to decrease the duration of enemy buffs. That is, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake. I wouldn't do that because really, if your Arbiter is about going first, and if you're relying on this ability, then you're not winning the speed race. And it's, I don't know. I think that really it's just more beneficial, and let other champions do the other part, being activated by your Arbiter. So you're doing a good job there. The one thing I will mention is that while I like the blessing, I guess if you're bringing Loki, which I assume you're probably bringing Loki, then that blessing is fine, but I would prefer Intimidating Presence on my Arbiter, especially at your level, where speed is so much more important. Winning that speed battle is going to be the most important thing for you. I would also advise against booking your Arbiter, at least this early on, because while you can reduce this to a 3-turn cooldown, the reality is it's a go first team. If you lose the speed battle, you probably lose that fight anyways. So reducing the cooldown here, and even reducing the cooldown of the revive, doesn't quite help you in the areas of the game that she's targeted for. If you're also using her in PvE, which is very common, don't be afraid to do that. That's where you may gain more benefit from the books. However, I think you're going to be better off booking out your Freya, your He-Man, if he's going to be your big nuker. Wukong is booked, and I'm glad to see you're not booking Loki. I personally am not the biggest fan of Loki. He will come in handy later on your account, though. But yeah, I really like the gearing and the look of everything that you're doing on this account. You're prioritizing speed, an interesting accuracy chest. If you're using her to provoke in Hydra, I can understand the accuracy chest. Otherwise, I would get away from that chest. I would get a defense chest on her because her shield is proportional to this champion's defense. So if you consider that a defense chest, so you're losing 50% defense on her towards her chest, right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of keeping that shield higher by giving yourself a larger amount of defense, and the only thing she needs accuracy for is her provoke, which you don't really care about, right? So unless you're doing Hydra, if she's your Hydra provoker, I can understand it, but even then you'll probably be able to find the accuracy through other means within the gear. In fact, I think I even saw a defense percent feral piece right here that would get you some accuracy from the 2 set. Well, I guess it's a 1 set bonus, so maybe not, but I think you get where I'm going with that. So that's one consideration that I would do for you. What are we doing for Othorian? Let's see. You've got crit damage on Othorian, crit damage there, and I like your build. I really like your build here. You're getting a lot out of Slayer, which is really good on him. Everything's AoE. I don't have Othorian, so that's why I'm kind of refreshing myself on the kit here a little bit. Yeah, I like the build. I was going to say maybe you don't need an attack percent chest because he does enemy max HP, but this one doesn't. And I don't know how hard it hits. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you have Othorion, would you build him to be a little tankier? Does it maybe, or does he have a passive? Oh yeah, you're fine. Attack percent chest, do it up. I don't think you need. He's gonna gain. I remembered his passive off the top of my head. He's gonna gain HP that way, so you can get extra damage out of the A1, which I think will be beneficial. So yeah, I like your builds. I really like your builds. So great work on the gear. All right, guys, we switched over to Arena. We're going to take a look at their existing Arena team, and I saw something right away, but I'm going to see what this team does against this one. So let's see how they fare here. I'm just going to run it. Let me make sure. Sorry, I want to be on ×2. Now, we're still going to win here, I think, but there is something that's... actually, we'll see what the Wukong does. Okay. All right. So I would still make a few changes that are seemingly unnecessary. This is gold 4. I don't know if they're consistent. They may just be gold 4 because you see they haven't done their battles yet since the most recent reset. So they may have gotten demoted, but I would assume that they can hit gold 5. But we're going to try and make that a little bit easier for them. And what I'm going to recommend here is something that I recommend to a lot of players. So we've got a few different options to play around with. One issue we have is we have a ton of turn meter boosting that we kind of don't need. Let's take a look at the build on Wukong. Wukong was in speed boots. He's no slouch. He's pretty fast, right? We talked about that. 244 speed, pretty hard hitting. We don't need the extra speed boost from Apothecary here. So what I would do is the same team that we have. We'll keep Loki in there just for the increase to the aura, because we kind of have a slot that we can play around with. But then I would go Madame Ceres and Loki. Now, I don't know if Madame Ceres is built. We're going to take a look real quick. Okay, so we've got 231 speed and then 288 accuracy. So we're a little too slow compared to the Wukong. All right, so I played around with their gear a little bit, and we actually found a better build for Madame Ceres that increases her speed to 250, gains a little bit of accuracy, but at this low level, it still should be good enough at 308 accuracy to be able to land the debuffs that we're looking to land. So I got permission from Cyclone here. We're going to equip that gear. So now Madame Ceres is our second fastest champion, right behind our Arbiter. Not right behind, but behind our Arbiter and before our Wukong, who is at 244. Loki's speed doesn't matter that much. Loki, I'm literally only bringing for the intimidating presence portion of this. Likely I would prefer maybe a different crowd control champion. You know, somebody like I would consider even bringing Deacon in some circumstances just to reduce the enemy turn meter, but we'd have to build Deacon a lot faster than what he currently is, and we don't really need it. I think we get the value that we want out of intimidating presence, and if we happen to not one-shot everybody in this traditional speed team, then we have a little bit more to play around with, a little bit of mitigation, blocking of skills, and things like that as kind of our backup plan, okay? So this is the team. I will go ahead and put in a preset for it. I'm just going to do RB Arena. And we're going to open with Mentor of Heroes. This is going to be the speed boost, right? Madame Ceres is going to place decreased defense and decrease attack. This is going to allow us to do more damage with Loki, who we already saw got very close to one-shotting everybody. Not going to mess with Loki at all. I'm going to open with Staff of Wonders. Now, this ability hits harder than Now You See Me. What I would recommend for you, Cyclone, is that when you're playing, I would recommend if you happen to see like Stone Skin or maybe a shield set, you might want to then like take it off auto and try Now You See Me to get those debuffs off. But reality is you should be able to do a lot of damage, potentially kill everybody with the A2 here. We already saw how hard the A3 hit, and this hits harder than that. So we'll save that. And this is just a random team, still the same team that we're looking at. We're going to throw this on auto and see if we can one-shot this team. All right. So Arbiter is going to give us the speed boost. We're going to place the decreased defense. And there you go. Now you have a full-fledged speed team. Let's see. We have a mythical here. This could be a challenge. Let's give it a shot. We also have a UDK that might be hard to kill. Let's see what we can do here. All right. We've got some Stone Skin here. So I'm going to switch it off a little bit. We're still going to do this. We removed one of the stone skins. That's great. Another reason why Madame Saris is awesome. We'll try to remove another one. We did kill 2 of them. That's great. And now this is the part where it's kind of like, okay, we can... I wouldn't have been able to target anybody else anyways there. But looks okay. I think we'll be all right. Well, we're going to put this on auto and see if we can still win this here. There are going to just flat out be times where you're going to run into teams that you might not be able to beat. But now that his stone skin is off, let's see how hard we hit this UDK. Boom. Let's go. Let's go. That was beautiful. So I did also notice like this team, we're going to try on this team. I'm going to keep it fully on auto. And the reality is we probably lose to this team. But I kind of wanted to discuss that a little bit and say that it's okay to not win every battle. I think a lot of people get this idea in their head that you need to go 10 out of 10 with your arena battles. Sometimes there are teams that you can't beat. And why do I say we can't beat this team? Well, Harima passively reduces ignore defense. So our Wukong is not going to hit that hard as we just saw him hit. So we'll run this team here. I suspect we win the speed battle, and we do. Oh, we still hit hard, even with Harima reducing the ignore defense, and we got the lockout. Way to go, Loki. Loki locks out the Mithrala so that they can't revive. Not Mithrala, sorry, the Duchess, so they can't revive. And now we just whittle down the Mithrala. Gonna take a little bit of time, but there you go, right? Awesome. Great. That's great. But that is something that if you were to lose to a team like that, that is okay, right? You're kind of supposed to lose to that team. Likewise, if you lose the speed battle, don't get too down about it, right? Sometimes you're going to lose the speed battle. It happens. There are players that are going to be faster than you. Unless you're pouring money into this game, you will run into teams that are faster than you, and you just kind of have to accept that. You know, just something to kind of talk that I wanted to talk about for you guys and show you, like, you know, that. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna wrap that up. I want to keep my videos kind of short. I'm not trying to like draw this out or anything. It's just easier for my editor and easier for me. But we're gonna keep talking here. I'm gonna keep working with them and see what other solutions I can find with them. And I'm probably gonna record that and it maybe make it into a part 2. So if you guys want that part 2, let me know in the comments because I'll have it recorded, but I don't know if I'm gonna release it. Okay, so you guys make that decision. So let me know in the comments if you want part 2 of this takeover, and if you like this content in general. This is the first recorded takeover that I've ever done. So you know, I don't usually do recorded takeovers. I usually just do them live, and you guys can watch the VODs while I talk for 2 hours. But in this case, I wanted to try out a recorded one and see how it went. Either way, for this video, I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We just hit 4,500 subscribers and we are making a push for 5,000. So every single one of you that clicks that button just really helps me out and I super appreciate it. But most of all, I just want to say thank you for watching the video and I hope I will see you in the next one. Take care.